I'm asking questions, perhaps I'm speak for a lot of people here. But first, for example, we only know this concept, we try to be able to apply in our daily life, but we often find that we stuck in a situation like, just recently I heard someone who has difficulty to sleep in 3 days. I really want to fall into sleep. I can't. I want something. I know I need something. But it's been 3 days already. Okay, this is the situation, what we can do. I know I need to rest. I need to relax. I need to sleep. I can't. Okay, this is the first one. The second one, we may find that we are stuck in a situation, sometimes dilemma. We want to get out of it. We definitely want to have harmony, not disharmony. For example, a relationship. Stuck in a relationship, perhaps with partners, perhaps with our children. I did all I can. I don't know what to do. I'm fed up. And, well, one way you can come out of the relationship. It's difficult. Maybe you can do with your partner, but how about your parents, your children? Yeah, dog, I can give it to someone else, but your children, we are stuck. I mean, what can we do to alleviate our suffering and also suffering our children and family members? Could you give us better advice than separating them, not facing them, run away from them? Thank you very much.
Difficult questions. These theoretical ones are easy. Okay. So, now, if we are suffering from insomnia, if we can't sleep, it's not just something which is happening in the first day of retreats when we are somehow adapting ourselves to new conditions and so on. But people suffer from insomnia in their daily life. They can't sleep, and it's obvious that they can't sleep because their mind does not stop when they go to rest. But the mind continues working on whatever they think it's a problem. And it's not that they want to think about it. The mind is accelerated, and it's there is a kind of inertia, mental inertia. The mind is moved in a certain direction and simply can't stop. It's like we can't do anything about it. It goes, it thinks all the time, and this thinking bring of always some kind of negative emotions or something. And especially in relation to sleep, when somebody goes to sleep and, when we can't sleep, we know that if we don't sleep tomorrow, we won't be able to function. And then on the top of what we can't stop our mind, there is a thought that we won't be able to sleep. Which makes situation even much worse than otherwise it would be. So it's not easy to get out of that. People go for a therapist, for a long time, and sometimes successful, very often not successful. It's actually huge business. Insomnia is huge business, for a therapist and for. Some people live on that. So there is some benefits out of insomnia for some people, So I think that well, there is a various approaches, but they all require patience, they all require perseverance, they all require using a method, they all require some experience in using a method. There is no easy solution, there is no easy solution. It would be misleading if I say now, oh, you can solve that problem very easily, but it's, I think, essential that we know why we are not sleeping, that we understand why this is happening. So remember from before, the first step is understanding, right understanding why things are happening like they are happening, And once we know why we can't stop thinking, what is it that our mind is obsessed with, And then we have to rationalize somehow that. We have to start to think about our thinking in a way to rationalize it, seeing clearly that there is no point in thinking about it when we go to sleep. There is no solution coming out of it. We have to dismiss importance of that thinking somehow. Okay? Is that clear? We have to convince ourselves that that thinking is useless. So instead of worrying about effects, and that is not sleeping, we go to the cause of thinking, trying to clarify that. All right? And we have to convince ourselves very deeply that there is no point in thinking when you go to sleep. No solution comes out of it except not sleeping and not functioning tomorrow. Okay? So that's the one thing. Another thing, when we go to sleep, when our body is, touching that horizontal surface of our bed and start to relax, in the same time we should start relaxing our mind as well. We should start relaxing our mind as well, knowing that it's time to sleep. But in the same time, we should fully accept possibility that we won't sleep. We shouldn't oppose, we shouldn't enter into conflict with whatever is going. If mind is working still, let the mind work. Start to observe what the mind does, instead of being identified with the content. Start to observe with the idea of relaxing, with the idea of going to sleep. Okay, let the mind work, but don't oppose it. Don't enter into conflict with it, with the idea, oh, I have to sleep now, because if I don't sleep now, it will be disaster tomorrow. That thought creates conflict. It makes you more awake. It makes you more tensed, and therefore you won't be able to sleep. Okay? This is not easy. It requires time, it requires patience, but the first step is understanding of what's really going on. You can go even into what is it that you are obsessed with? What is it that you can't accept? Sometimes we are taking the tasks which are above our capabilities because we don't know ourselves very well. And then we struggle to be successful. And that is, we are tear apart, from inside by engaging in such a thing. We have to know what is it that we are capable of doing, and then we do that. Small steps, not the big steps, not the big goals. You can plan your future with the big goals, but then be concerned with the small steps. Okay, and then you will get the satisfaction of being able to do things. Because there is, in not being able to sleep, there is not a slight grain of contentment with ourselves there. You see that? And that is also result of not being realistic towards ourselves. Because there is a lot of good things about ourselves which we ignore. We only emphasize things which we think are bad about ourselves, and things which we are worrying about. So it's very complex, the way we see ourselves on the one hand, not underestimating ourselves, but also not, what's the opposite? Overestimating ourselves. That's the crucial in but it all depends on introspection. It all depends on ourselves knowing ourselves through meditation, through awareness. Okay. And the second question. Stuck in the relationship. That's even more difficult one. Stuck in the relationship. It's difficult to understand ourselves. How much difficult is to have understanding, have a mutual understanding between the people who don't understand themselves. That is situation, okay? That's the situation. And if both parties knows that, if both parties are aware of that, they are also aware of the fact that they have to put much more effort into understanding ourselves and the other. If both parties knows that, then there is a possibility of deeper understanding happening, and deeper understanding meaning, ability to accept, ability to not building up resentment in the relationship. That's a huge part of misunderstanding. When you build resentment, not being satisfied what other party is doing, but not communicating that, not telling that, not speaking openly about it. So it is like one party becomes farther and farther away from the other one, without physically going farther away, and without how can I say it? Without acknowledge that. Okay, and then when something happens, things explode, and it explode because it was a lot of explosive there in the first place. Okay, so not building up resentment. That's the very, very important. Being open and being in communication, and knowing that we are not perfect, and that nobody is perfect, and that we, it's a kind of dynamic balance, as I mentioned earlier, in relation to body, but it's also present there. The relationship between people, there is no anything fixed or static there. If we want to keep a good relationship, we have to understand this dynamic relationship. We have to put effort into it. We have to try to understand the other side. We have to let go of our egocentricity, be more open, and and in that sense we won't be stuck, or even when we are stuck, then seeing how we can let go of whatever make us being stuck there. Oh, this is even more complex question than the first one. yeah, but it's it's extremely important. Actually, I did not explain that in my talk. That originally that was a part of what I wanted to talk about. I mentioned it, the harmony in our social relations, but I didn't explain it later on, and that includes creating actually this web of good relationships around ourselves, which is supporting, everyone is supporting that web on the one hand. Another dimension of it is creating this deep spiritual friendship, spiritual friendship and the friendship in general. That is a huge part of our well-being. Okay, and yeah, it's a dynamic balance.